Good afternoon. Here on this election day, please go out and vote. Don't care who you vote for. Don't want to know. Just please make sure you go out and vote today before the polls close. Best show ever here on 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports Philadelphia. 610-632-0975 is the number to participate. Let's get to the opening statements. And we start with the word of the day. And the word of the day today is construct. Because now there's an opportunity. We now know what happened with the Phillies this year. We know what happened. And we can disagree on whether or not it was bad or not. I think it was bad. A lot of other people don't think it was bad to lose in the World Series. Now we look forward. And now everyone out there, you have an opportunity today to be pie in the sky. As of right this moment at like 2:02, none of the big free agents have signed yet. Therefore, everyone is available. And now we all know that this team came up short against the Astros. And I especially need everyone that said we'll get them next year to step up today, because what does this team need to do from their 2022 team to add to get to the 2023 World Series and this time win it? Because going backwards is not an option. So how do we construct a roster with these Phillies going forward to where you can actually win the World Series, which is the goal still? Now, I'll go out right at the top and lay out what I would do. Now, I'm not Dave Dombrowski, so likely he'll do none of what I say. But if it was up to me, here's how I would move this team from where it is now to where it needs to be to win a World Series, because anything less next year for me will be a big disappointment. I start with both my first and third baseman. I need new players at both of those spots. I believe you could get something for Rhys Hoskins. I personally believe. And I'm going to try to get a pitcher, a starting pitcher. And then I'm going to unfortunately have to part with Bohm because I don't trust his defense personally or his power. Now, my answer at third base is I'm going to find whatever the best fielder is to play in that spot. I need defense at that spot with no shift. I need as good a glove as possible. Then at first base, I go out there and most likely I find out if it's in-house, Schwarber, for example, Castellanos, who can play first base on the roster. If I have that, then I can do a rotation for my DH. And then so now right there with just those moves, I have a better starting rotation. I have a better glove at first base because you can't get a worse glove. I have a better glove at third base. And then, of course, you go get Trey Turner. And voila. Now I believe your team is right there in the mix. One, to actually be better than the Braves and the Mets, which you weren't this year in the regular season. And two, actually do something if you get to the World Series up 2-1 again. You'll have better defense. You'll have a better lineup, a deeper lineup, a different kind of lineup, maybe some less strikeouts in that lineup. But most importantly, you won't be booting the ball all over the field, because here's another thing I noticed going into that World Series when it came to the pitching. The Phillies needed to be able to line up their pitching perfectly, and they couldn't quite do it. They were close. One of the reasons were they lost the game to the Braves basically solely because of Rhys Hoskins' defense. If you eliminate that, maybe you sweep them instead. Also, you booted the ball all over the place in one of the games against the Padres. You don't do that, maybe you sweep them. If you go in playing less games, maybe the magic lasts a little bit longer and you're able to finish the job. That's how I would construct this roster going forward. Hunter, what would you do?
I'm not far off, but I do have a little bit of a change. So I'm with you on the big fish of the shortstop. I think all of us would be happy with the Trey Turner, right? That's a big one. Carlos Correa, Dansby Swanson, Bogarts. We know about the relationship with Dave Dombrowski. I'm not ready to give up on Bohm yet. I think that's where we differ. But if I trade Rhys for a starting pitcher, which I'm all in for, I know I want more power out of Bohm, but I still think he provides a lot, young age. I'm still willing to rock with him. I don't like him at third, though. So I'll put him over at first. And then to your point, how about Joey Wendell, someone who can play good defense over at third base? There's a mutual option with this contract, but you can slot him over there. He can still hit 260, not a lot of power, but a for sure glove. There's another name out there in Brandon Drury, who we saw in the postseason for San Diego. He gave him 28 bombs, and he was on Cincinnati, got traded over, but he can give you power over third base, just some options that you could look for. So from a more of a broad approach, I like where your head's at. I'm kind of rocking with the similar vibe. I need more power out of Bohm, and I think this is where I'm leaning into a little bit of optimism, or maybe I get fooled by the end of it. But last year, he had so much to work on. He got sent down, and he had really bad defense and really bad offense. And with all due respect to his season, I'm concerned with him at third base long term, but still a really good jump from where he was at the end of last season to where he is right now, where if you keep attacking, you keep going, you work with Kevin Long, you keep working on your craft, I think maybe you can find that power that we know is in that body structure. So I'm willing to put him over at first base, but that's where I'm at with this. We need to find a way where in the postseason, we're not relying on Aaron Nola as a 1 or 2 game starter. That's what we need to do. So whether that's Rhys Hoskins, it's not as if the free agent market has all these sexy names out there. You're going to have to trade. You're going to have to get creative. If Dave Dombrowski's making the move, you got to get cute with it. I think he knows that. I think he sees value in Rhys. I think he knows that him and Scott Boras are working together to get a fat paycheck, so maybe maximize the arbitration year this season. There's a lot. And that's why when you go back to we'll be right back next year, it's not very simple. There's a lot of moving parts with this organization right now. I have a lot of questions. That's where I'm at, Ricky Bo.
There are a lot of questions. I think you guys want to start with that. The shortstop position is going to be filled. I really believe that. I think the Phillies are going to go get somebody in that shortstop position, put Stott over to second base on an everyday basis. I think that guy brings a lot of value. I think Stott really brings a lot of value to this team because he works opposing pitchers. There's not a lot of guys in this lineup that do besides Schwarber and him. So I like that move. Third base, I'm not completely – look, I know Alec Bohm has had his problems. There's no doubt about it. I thought he got better as the season went on. Is he going to be great at third base? The answer is no. I think your biggest hole in the infield is obviously at first base. I'm talking defensively, obviously. And I think, if there is a situation in which you can get something, and I'm talking more starting pitching, for Rhys Hoskins, you do it. I think the glaring thing in the playoffs wasn't necessarily, I guess the last 3 games you could say offensively. But when you look a little deeper, I think it was the starting pitching. You look at what won it for the Houston Astros, they had a solid 4. You have a solid 4 in the playoffs. You're not going to be doing all this garbage that the Phillies had to do, searching for who's going to be a starter. Start Bailey Falter in a game where he really had no business starting. And in my opinion, I think you go out and get that number 2 starter from somebody, and I think Rhys could grab that for you. You bring in that number 2 starter, then you start worrying about where you could fit in holes because they have plenty of offense. I'm sorry. I think they have plenty of offense to win. We all have a problem with Nick Castellanos. And I know people are going to say, well, just trade him. It's not that easy because if we're seeing the problems, everybody else is seeing those problems too, which makes it hard to trade and probably you'd have to eat a ton of salary. Rhys, on the other hand, is still arbitration, which means you could keep him, you can get rid of him. It's a good time to trade him since he'd still be a full year somewhere else. And I'm sure if you traded, I think it would be one of those things where a team would probably say, okay, we'll sign you for 5 years, $120 million, and everything's good there. But, I mean, the bullpen will fill in itself. But lineup-wise, I think they need one more starting pitcher. I think lineup-wise, you need a couple guys that fit in there that aren't going to strike out so much. And I think it was glaring. 71 strikeouts in 6 games in a World Series. That's glaring to me. That's saying something about your offense and the Swiss cheese bats they brought up there. You need somebody. I know Trey Turner's not going to strike out consistently, but maybe somewhere else. I mean, maybe you do trade Bohm or somebody like that and maybe bring in a guy that can handle the bat a little bit more. Maybe not necessarily a home run guy, but a guy that can handle the bat and puts the ball in play.
Yeah, and so this is the opportunity for everybody. You can now construct this Phillies roster, and it also brings me to another question, because a lot of people yesterday and Sunday and even Saturday night were talking about how fun this whole ride was, and I understand that I'm a weirdo. So what I need is, like, why do you watch sports? No, seriously, like, I am interested from the audience into why you watch sports. I watch sports to be entertained with the hope at the end I get a championship. I don't watch this just to be entertained, period. It's to be entertained, comma, or semicolon, to eventually win a championship. It seems like a lot of other people in the city actually just watch sports for the fun of it. So I want to know from everybody out there, 610-632-0975. I want to construct this Phillies roster. You guys make it the roster you want it to be so that you can win a World Series. But I'm finding out that I might care significantly more about winning the whole thing than a lot of other people.
And the answer is not we still have the Eagles at 8-0. That's not the answer.
No.
That's not an answer.
No, because year to year, you don't know what that's going to be.
Exactly.
Teams are up, teams are down. So I really want to know from the people out there, like, why do you watch sports? Like, I put myself through all of the ups and the downs and the depression and all that come with the sports with the hope that there's parades. That's why I do it. Other people, though, clearly do it for, quote, a great ride. So I want to know, what is it about a great ride for you personally? If you don't get a title, what makes it great? And and this is just a question. I'm not going to argue with anybody. I'm really trying to be educated. Why do you watch sports if championships aren't your thing? Because that's my thing. I'm obsessed with the winning. That's all I care about. I want wins, wins, wins. That's what I want. Other people, though, can look at it and say, well, look at us sitting there having fun. So what is it about sports when your team's not winning titles that makes you love it? 610-632-0975. We'll be back here on 97.5 The Fanatic and NBC Sports Philadelphia. And now time for the Twitter poll with Jen Scordo. Hello, Jen.
Hello there. All right, today, what position do the Phillies need to upgrade most next season? You have 4 answers to choose from today. Starting pitching, first base, shortstop, or third base. Currently, starting pitching is winning here at 55% with our early votes.
Yeah. And what you said, Hunter, was absolutely right. You can't come back with Nola with game 1 or 2 in the playoffs. Now, in the regular season, fine. In a NLDS, fine. But it's hard for me to believe that he'll just get it together in the playoffs, and it's not because of, and there are other, like Verlander, they were talking about, that was his first win, and when you don't throw hard, you have to be really mentally, really sharp. And I feel like at some point, both physically and mentally, he lost it in the playoffs, and he can't reach back for that 97 and up to throw it by people when he does miss.
I agree. And I'll be honest with you. Last night, I was more pissed off than I was yesterday. No disrespect to the Sixers. We all enjoyed the win, and Joel Embiid and Niang with 7 threes.
It was nice.
Yeah, Wells Fargo was electric. I'm like, and I know the series would have been over anyway because they wouldn't have played on Monday. But I'm like, I miss the adrenaline rush of being on the edge of my seat watching every single pitch. Instead, it's game 11 of the regular season of hoops. I'm just aggravated because of the opportunity we missed. But I got a question for you.
We should have got a game 7.
Yeah.
Once you're up 2-1, you should have gotten to a game 7.
Yeah, no doubt.
Losing 3 straight, no.
We might be on Broad Street right now doing this.
Yep.
Or Wednesday.
Or
Wednesday, yeah, would not have
either
been
way,
today.
but because of election day.
Now, you were big on the corner infield.
Yeah, I have concerns with both, yeah.
Would you be disappointed? Let's say they get the shortstop, okay?
Yeah.
They trade Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah.
You have a starter. Bohm stays at third, and you sign Anthony Rizzo at first base. Would you be okay with that?
It's going to cost you a ton. He could pick it, though.
Hold on.
He hit 32 homers.
I thought I saw Rizzo news.
Oh, was there?
I don't know.
I know him and the Yankees are no longer going to be together. That's what the last thing I saw. But maybe there was something new. Maybe I missed
Well, he
something.
couldn't have signed with anybody yet.
No, 2 hours ago, Yankees are expected to give Anthony Rizzo a qualifying offer. Okay, that's what I see from John Heyman 2 hours ago.
Yeah, he opted out of his, and then they're going to do the qualifying offer.
And the next thing I see underneath that is the Mets have eyes on Trey Turner.
Oh, it's going to be.
Well, if that's the case,
crazy.
they're not going to get him. The Phillies
But
aren't
there's
gonna
still
get him.
3 others.
Yeah, but I'm saying if the Mets want him, they'll pay more.
And quite frankly, I don't think the Phillies could lose either way they go.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, I almost want to see Bogarts.
Yeah, and
Just got a good bat. He's
Good
very
bat.
good in the field.
Yep.
Very solid player.
Over
Yeah.
Trey, though?
No, I mean,
Okay.
if you
but
can't
money
get him.
is an object.
Yeah.
Like there's a certain amount of money. They spent a ton to try to rehab that outfield.
Yeah.
That's going to be the next time I'm excited about. Now we have these pitchers. The next time I'm going to be excited about the farm system is when they finally develop a damn outfielder. Something they haven't done in a long. What's
Well,
about
they
decades.
developed Mickey Moniak. That's your boy.
He's gone. So I'm talking about when they develop one that stays. Because I mean, Moniak would have been a great player. They're going to have to develop an outfielder at some point. They spent all that money there. So I don't know if you have the money. You don't have unlimited money in the infield when you paid 2 guys $20 million each in the corners, plus what Harper was already getting.
That's fair. So, yeah, Anthony Rizzo probably is out financially. But
No. My issue with Bohm is third or first. First, at least his defense will probably be better. At third, you're 6'5". Turn on the ball and pull it sometime. Not all the time. I'm saying more often. At 6'5", with his frame, he's in shape too. He's not super scrawny either.
13 homers.
That's not enough.
And this is parts of 3 years now, so you would have already seen his power come along. Don't be surprised. That's all I'm going to tell you.
No, I'm not saying.
I'm just saying. You never know when trades happen.
Right. I personally, I don't hate him. It's just that I need a third baseman to be me. This is just my way my mind likes it. Great as far as a power guy or great with the glove. Good at third base doesn't mean no good.
You have neither right now.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. And I think he could have some power if he would make some adjustments. And sometimes on an inside pitch, just turn your damn hips at 6'5". In that park, you can pull a ball out of it.
And it's odd.
You can yoke it out.
His power is not to left, though. I mean, if you think
Right.
he hit
'Cause
that
he's
home run to
inside
left and it barely eked out
Right.
into
It's
the
'cause of that
power
inside out
alley
swing that
too.
he has.
So
Right.
I mean, that's I just don't think he has the swing that's conducive for
Right,
it.
and that's why personally, if I'm building a team the way I would want, I would part ways because he wouldn't fit what I would want from my third base.
I understand what you're saying, and you can get a ton for him.
Right. Because he's young, and
that's why I said don't be surprised.
Yeah, and it's not like a dislike or anything because I think he recovered and everything you said about him positively in the open, I agree with. It's just if I'm right now, we have a full offseason to do anything we want, hypothetically. Like Dombrowski can change this team more in his vision. I want either a guy who's going to almost be in the mix for a Gold Glove there or 30-ish home runs.
I got a question for both of you guys because this has been in my mind and it sits in my mind because of all you hear, like from Bryce Harper. I love all these guys on the team and we play together well. Do you think the Phillies are going to be afraid to make some moves?
I can't rule it out, but I hope not.
It scares me.
Yeah.
I mean, to be quite frank, I just don't like a situation where the players are running the show because
Right.
that's not the way it should be. And if it's any indication from what we heard right after the game and then the next day, that scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
That all these players think everybody's going to be here and it's status quo and we'll add 1 or 2 here or there. I mean, it's a little weird.
No, because you got up into the World Series up 2-1, and then we saw where it went.
Who's your core of must-keeps?
Harper.
I'm not talking pitchers. I'm talking
Yeah.
about
Harper's a must-keep. Marsh right now is a must-keep because I don't think you're going to go find a better center fielder that you can
center
afford.
field-wise, that's fair.
Yeah, I just don't think you're going to find one. Schwarber's obviously a must-keep.
Okay.
Stott's a must-keep. JT's a must-keep.
Could you maximize his trade value?
JT?
You lose a lot, but I'm just saying, could you maximize the trade value on the catcher position?
Now, here's the thing. Would I be upset if they moved him? No, other people would be in the city.
Other people would be fumed.
Yeah.
He was a key piece to the getting to the run.
Yes.
He throws everybody out.
Right.
That's the key.
But it's like a running back for me.
But I think that the back could go. I think he's going to be able to throw people out till he's 100.
Yeah.
I think that arm's the real deal. I think he can change his game and be a different type of catcher.
Well, let's look at the Astros, for example, and a lot of teams. And this is why I look at it like the running back position. A lot of these teams, you can plug and play this. You have 2 catcher. How much money do you need to spend on the catcher position where maybe you can use that elsewhere and just have guys that get you by who get hit in the ninth hole to get you on base so Altuve can come up and Pena can come
but they count on him to be part of the offense.
Right.
They do.
Yeah, they count on him. And From July on, he was excellent.
He was.
Now, he stunk in April and May.
He was
and
bad
June.
early on.
Yeah, like that kind of gets forgotten. He was terrible. Like up until he...
Everybody was talking about, wow, this guy went south really quick and he's not going to come back.
Like that got forgotten with how well he closed. So he has to... But some of that could be he catches too often. But that's another reason to make first base available sometimes.
You got to wonder if they're going to sneak in like 4 days off for him somewhere in the middle of the season because that's what happened.
Yep.
He didn't go to Toronto.
Yep.
And there was a day off, I believe, on both ends of that.
Yep.
That he didn't play.
Two-gamer.
So he had like 4 days off.
And then from then on, he was excellent.
Yep.
But I think he's a must-keep. But to me, it's not that many. I can part with first, third, and Castellanos Harper. Castellanos could go. I'm just trying to be realistic.
He's not going anywhere.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to be realistic.
I'm not worried, by the way, about the being afraid to spend money because Dave Dombrowski has
It's
the
not.
pedigree.
It's not about spending money. It's about what they spend it on, I think.
Right.
I mean, obviously, they're going to go out and get some bullpen pieces. But I don't even think you need that many bullpen pieces. And I'm being honest. I think you need maybe a setup guy and a couple middle type guys, and I think you could be all right. And I think that could also be fixed at midseason if there's something desperately wrong in the bullpen.
Yeah. Unless...
You got your closers.
No, what you do, if you went with Hall at first and you want to do the platoon, could it be JT who plays first against lefties and he catches against everybody else?
Asking a lot of Stubbsy, aren't you?
I'm just asking. Could you do that?
I think you could do that. I don't think the Phillies necessarily would do that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Stubbs could take. He's not a big guy, remember.
Well, I mean, how often would they face lefties? Twice a week at the most?
Yeah, I guess you could pull that off.
But I don't know. Stubbs might not be able to catch twice a week. No, that might be asking too much of him. I'm asking. I'm trying to think of a
Twice a week, you're talking 8 times 6, 48 games. Oh, no, I guess it's not that bad.
And then the reason I say that is then you could end up saving money at first, and then you could afford Turner because you pushed a bunch of the money there, but you didn't really look for a big return money-wise necessarily on the first base spot. Harry Cape, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Harry.
Hello.
You're on
What's
the
up,
air,
Harry?
Harry. What's up?
Well, I agree with everything you guys said, but to trade these people, nobody wants them, so that's a problem.
Hold on.
Not
Who?
true.
You got to be more specific. We mentioned a lot of people. Who does nobody want?
Castellanos, Rice.
Hold on. None of us said to trade Castellanos because we know he'd be trading low right now. He'll be back. But Rhys Hoskins, why would 30 home runs in a league where everybody has a DH not be attractive to anybody else?
Because he has bricks for hands.
Once again, Harry, why would a player who hit 30 home runs where every team has a DH available not be attractive to anyone?
Okay, you're right there. The other comment I wanted to get in, I wanted to tell you this for a couple of weeks now. Schwarber hit this home run, and you said it was like, oh, my God, it was the longest home run you ever saw. Hello?
Yeah, we're
the
waiting.
one into the upper deck.
Yeah, he
in
hit the
San
ball.
Diego.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, well, I'm in my 70s, and I'm sorry you guys are too young to ever have gone to Connie Mack Stadium. I remember it being there 9, 10 years old.
I didn't what stadium?
What'd you say
I didn't hear
there?
what he said.
What'd you say there, Harry?
Connie Mack.
Connie Mack. All right.
And watching Hammer and Hank and Stan the Man.
Right, Harry.
They were back then.
Right, Harry. It was like a euphemism. We didn't literally mean it was the longest home run we ever saw. We just meant it was really far. Like, we didn't literally mean that the Schwarber home run was literally the longest one we ever saw. We were saying that, like, wow, that was in a playoff game. It was a really big game, a really big home run. He hit it a mile. Like, the point was it was
Where would
really
it have
long.
landed at Connie Mack?
I
I mean, you got to wonder.
you do.
Even with
no, you get what I'm saying? We didn't mean literally.
No, I know what you're saying.
Like the one Alvarez hit.
That was a missile.
Right. If someone said that was the longest they saw, I don't think they would necessarily be saying literally. They were saying that in a big spot to win a World Series, a guy didn't hit a cheapie. That's kind of the point.
Right.
That he hit it really far in a big moment.
To say that no team would want Reese, even without the DH, let's say half the teams had the DH and the other half didn't. He would still have value because in this league, we all complain about it all the time. It's strikeout, it's walk, or it's home run. Well, he can hit 30 of them. So even as a butcher at first base, teams would still love to have that offensive upside.
And by the way, none of us would be crushed if he was back. We're looking at how to realistically build to the roster. You mentioned yesterday, if the trade market doesn't emerge, not at all, because there would be suitors to the Phillies' liking.
They're not going to take it.
That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be the end of the world to have Rhys Hoskins back. He's a good baseball player. Like, it's just that you would prefer if Harper, and we'll talk to Jim Salisbury about this, can get that elbow fixed, and the DH spot would be available more often.
That's another thing that might be holding, like, that could hold the Phillies back.
Right.
Because do you sit back and say, well, okay, Harper needs surgery, is he going to be back and ready?
Right. And then if that's the case, then if you get the Japanese guy, Yoshida, which I would love. I would love to have him. No, I really would. Like, try to get him. Like,
Masataka.
Seriously. Like, if the baseball people think he's good, I trust them. Because the track record's pretty darn good. Even the guys that come over that, quote, stink, they're still on the roster. They've become fourth outfielders or backup. None of them seem to be bust when they come over. Because it seems like the scouting has gotten so good.
Right.
It seems like they're not just taking anybody. They scout the hell out of these guys.
He's putting up numbers in a Japanese league that is equal to or close to Major League Baseball.
Right.
It's not like AA.
Right.
I mean,
Here's
people
a
have
thought.
to understand that.
If you trade Reese, can Schwarber play first every day and then this guy play left field every day?
Schwarber was supposed to be playing a lot more first this year.
Where was that going to leave Reese? I know that's one.
He was going to DH more often.
I understand.
I think there was going to be times where he would DH and then
Castellanos would be in left at that point. Bryce would be playing right field, and then Castellanos. Castellanos would be
but
playing
right
left.
now you're sitting.
And then Schwarber would have been at first, and then Hoskins would have been
That
DH.
was the one thing I worried about last year is you're sitting on too many DHs.
Right.
now.
Right. But if this guy can, I guarantee he can play the field because he looks like an athlete. I was just looking on my phone. Looks like he moves pretty well.
I would hope so. He's an outfielder.
I'm saying, it looks like he moves pretty well.
Not like he's 40 years old.
Right. He's 29. You could probably plug and play him right at the top of the order.
I'm sure you could.
That'd be nice. Jose in Gilbertsville, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
What's going on, gentlemen? How's everybody doing today?
Doing all right, Jose. How are you?
Looks like Mr. Middleton's got to gas up the jet and fly out to Japan from what I'm hearing from you guys.
There you
Looks
go.
like you guys good, man. Looks like we're going to be making cheesesteak sushi rolls or something.
You know what? I do think that this team needs some of that to change it up, where the talent comes from. Plus, that way when you're having those baseball conversations, this guy's coming from a totally different world. You can teach him something. He can teach the guys something. I think that's the advantage also of having more players from Latin America. The way they come up playing the game is different than the American player, and now those ideas can bounce off. I bet you Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos roughly all came up kind of the exact same way as far as learning the game.
Agree.
One guy was the player of the year in Florida. Another guy was the player of the year out in Vegas. Another guy was these are all like conventional guys. I think that would help this team.
Well, I wanted to also answer your question, the reason why I watch sports. I have two responses for that.
Mm-hmm.
I watch sports, one, to be entertained and enjoy it, and two, to be hopefully sitting on Broad Street and enjoying a parade. I was so upset jumping on the ESPN app and watching all these highlights of the Astros enjoying the parade. I wanted that to be us, man. I wanted that to be us.
You know what? And I appreciate you saying that, Jose. And that's been the disconnect for me, in that I enjoyed the run up until the last 3 games. They were hard for me to watch. But I enjoyed the run. But I always want the run to end with the title. And if it doesn't, I'm disappointed. And I'm unable to this close to go back and look at the run. Maybe if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, I can say, wow, the Union got there. The Phillies got there. The Sixers are doing well. I think they're going to improve. The Flyers are in the mix. The Flyers are going to make the playoffs. And boom, look what we got with the Super Bowl. Then when I look at it in totality, it's pretty darn good. If I get no titles, I'm just getting a bunch of runs. Man, you go out to the bar, you talk to the person of your choice, male, female, non-binary, whatever you like. They say yes. You go back to the crib. Everything's all lined up. And then you get rejected. And it happens over and over and over and over again. At some point, you're going to not necessarily want to go back to the house.
Now, this is how I look at it. So I watch sports for the championship as well. And the entertainment comes with that. But the end goal is winning that championship. If you come up short, it was less entertaining for me. While there's still moments, I won't forget being at Citizens Bank Park when JT hit the inside the park home run. That place was nuts. I won't forget those moments. And in a couple weeks, I'll probably be a little more sentimental on it. It's hard for me right now. But for me, it's all about winning, and then the entertainment follows that journey. It's not entertaining regardless. And there are some out there that get the entertainment regardless. And I can't tell you you're wrong to feel that way, because I'm not the one that can judge if you're right or wrong in this. It's all personal based. But it's hard for me to wrap my head around just being entertained because I'm watching the sport, because there's a lot of negative stuff that can happen that makes me lose that entertainment value.
The whole thing about entertainment is how you take the entertainment. Are you just there for the ride? Are you just there to, enjoy yourself at the game, have some beers with friends? Right. That's what I think a lot of this is. I really do. I stated yesterday, we were in it from the beginning. Mm-hmm. When you're in this thing from the beginning, we went through 100 peaks and valleys throughout the season, and it was not an easy season. So when they made the playoffs, we were not necessarily ecstatic. I think we were all relieved. Yep. I think it was relief.
I think the players were too.
And then you just thought to yourself, well, they worked so hard to get here. Just, show up in the first series. See what happens. When they won that first series, everything changed for me. Mm-hmm. I realized that this team has grown back into what I thought they were in April. Mm-hmm. That to me became, this team could win a championship somehow. Right. If all the cards fall right, this team could win a championship. When they got up 2-1 in the World Series, there ain't no damn way I was looking back and saying, we're not winning this thing. I want to win this thing now. They're that close. They need 2 wins. All they have to do is 2 stinking wins.
And 2 games are home.
And then 3 of the games they don't show up in a row and then get no hit. That was a slap in the face. I was angry about that.
Are we the outlier?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Because we live and breathe. And look, Philadelphia is phenomenal for our fan base and whatnot. But are we phenomenal? We have a lot of diehards, but the city's also very, 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 very large. So that plays a role too. Is part of why we get the rush and the crowd and everybody there, because a lot more of our casuals jump on board when we're doing well. Is that what separates us? But where's the line here?
It's not just casual. Both Anthony and Sal Shooters from the Anthony Gargano show both immediately were able to go right to it was a great ride.
Yeah, they did. They did.
And they're diehards.
Yeah.
I just don't agree.
But what did
with
Anthony say before when the playoffs started? I'm just going to go for the ride. No expectations.
He said no expectation. And he stayed in no expectations mode. I never stay in no expectations mode. Like, even as a kid, like, there were small expectations. Like, my dad, at some point, a baby has to hold its own bottle. Like, at first, the baby can't. Even if you're a baby, at some point, you got to hold your own bottle. Because, like, they can hold their own bottle. Then I remember my dad said you were taught at a young age to knock on a door, not just to barge in. Little expectations. Eventually, it's take the trash out, cut the grass, blah, blah, teach you how to draw. I'm saying there's never no expectations for me. Ever, 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 ever. Like the Flyers this year, it's not no expectations. For me, honestly, it's make the playoffs. And that would be entertaining because I'm realistic. But up 2-1, it's very realistic to think this team can win the World Series. Yeah. When you add everything they added this past offseason, it was right to come into the season and say, well, they got to make the postseason. You got to break this drought, the longest one in the National League. As long as it's realistic to me, there's always expectations. I'm never, ever just along for the ride.
I'm with you there, and I think that's...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
If you're on a first date, casual first date, the expectation is the person will be on time, not rude, and have fun. Even if you don't think you're getting married. I'm saying there's always some expectations. But some other people are able to just completely remove expectations, and
if you're leaving a bar, the expectations are different.
Well, there you go.
And that was the point. And for what the Phillies and them have been doing to us, it's a lot of leaving with the person from the bar, as far as your mind thinks. The deal is sealed. You get back to the crib. You go to wash your face. Come back, she's asleep.
Yeah, you're all done.
Over.
Game
go
over.
home.
And someone
That's
called
what's
us.
happening.
Time to call the Uber.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Ew.
That's what's happening.
Pay for your own, too, right?
Damn right.
Damn right. Damn right, you're paying for your own.
Tiptoe out the door, too.
Yeah. You're going to let her sleep. I'm going to go ahead and
you don't have to gnaw off your arm in the morning.
Yeah, like,
But some would say that we're crazy to allow sports to manage our to have such a severe impact. Well, I love it. I mean, this is why I love what we do, and I'm very passionate about it. But that's what some would say is, why would you allow the sport to dictate your feelings so strongly? I can't control that. No, trust me, I can't control it.
I guess this is something
adrenaline controls that.
Yeah,
it does.
I try not to get invested, and then I tried to turn this Phillies team off 1,000 times during the year because they're taking me all around and
you
around.
Quit after the Mets series.
That's what I was like, that's it. I emotionally quit. And then they draw me back in over and over again. It stinks. Kevin in Atlantic City, you're on 97.5.
Suck you right back in.
Every time.
Hello?
What's up, Kevin?
Hey, guys. How are you? First of all, I'm going to start off by saying aloha because I work nights. I watch your show every day, and I listen to 80 people ask how you are. I would literally have a card just saying everyone's doing fine. Now, to get to the Phillies, I haven't heard anyone say anything about Nick Maton yet. But that being said, I still, for the life of me, don't understand why Schwarber, who hit 200 all year long, is leading off. I don't get it.
I get it.
We'll change it. What are you doing next year?
Next year, I say we get that shortstop land in. He's leading off. We find an Utley type player, hopefully someone
What?
like
Who?
Like De La Cruz.
Hold on, there is no Utley like player just lying around out there.
Well, all right.
They don't exist.
That I get. Maybe somebody.
I get a Jimmy Rollins too, and a Howard. It'd be great. Get a worse.
All right, you bring up good points. I got you. But does De La Cruz, maybe somebody like him shines in spring training and bring him up? I would have.
Wait a minute, you're talking about a kid from the minors?
Yeah.
On this team that's trying to win a World Series?
Just to be spiteful, I would love for Kyle Schwarber to be their leadoff guy next year.
Yeah,
There's nothing more I would love than to see someone who can hit 50 bombs lead off again. Come on, the dude was phenomenal this year. I want him to have the most at-bats he can have. I'm actually angry. I'm angry because now, if you think about this lineup and you put him at 5 and Bryce Harper 3, that's not good enough for me. I want him to get more at-bats. I don't want him to bat 5th.
You know what? 610-632-0975. I'm going to get out of his way. You cook during this commercial break. Come back. We'll keep exploring this. We're going to build this team. I love it. I'm so happy right now. We'll be back here on 97.5 The Fanatic and NBC Sports Philadelphia.